so hard. Welcome back. I am getting ready to head to the gym for the first day of quarterfinals prep. So it's sort of a quarterfinals mock weekend. And look who's here to come say hi before I leave. Well, Carson. Hi, buddy. Not leave my shoes on? Want this donut? This was sitting by my feet. Go get it. Okay, anyway, back to quarterfinals. So I got an email today, it is Thursday, about making quarterfinals, or at least I've unofficially qualified at this point, whatever that means. So I am one of the people at my gym that's doing this quarterfinals prep weekend, which is cool and awesome, and I'm really excited to have made quarterfinals because I was worried that that thruster workout was going to keep me out. It did not, so relieved about that. I'll put all my scores right here so you can see just how much worse my thruster was than anything else this open season. But I just did the last open workout as a repeat on Monday. I think I said it's Thursday, so Monday I did the open workout. Tuesday I did regular training. Wednesday I rested because of this quarterfinals prep weekend, and now it's quarterfinals prep. This all feels very close to me, like quarterfinals after the open is just so soon. It's not even 2 weeks when you think that the open ends on Monday and then begins like 10 days later, 11 days later on the Thursday after. So it's a lot, but quarterfinals is the goal and I made it. So, you know, gotta celebrate the wins. just feel like I'm gonna be, you know, tired after just finishing the open, quarterfinals prep weekend, and then quarterfinals weekend next weekend. But, you know, we're gonna rest accordingly. I'm probably gonna rest on Wednesday again after this. I'm not sure what's gonna be programmed for the RX Plus or competitive athletes at my gym. So I'll see the programming when it comes out on Sunday. But I'm going to guess Monday and Tuesday are gonna be lighter days. Wednesday full rest so that we could be ready for quarters on Thursday. So the first workout I'm doing today, it's actually the only workout today. We're having one workout on Thursday, 2 on Friday and Saturday, and 2 on Saturday. So it's supposed to simulate quarterfinals. Let me grab my phone so I can see what the workout is for today.
A few moments later.
All right, I found my phone. So the workout today is similar to a previous quarterfinals workout that we did 2 years ago, except one movement is switched out. So I'll put the workout on my screen here so you can see it, but it is 4 time 50 GHD sit-ups, 5 rope climbs, 50 wall balls, 44, 40, 33, 30. So it is a lot similar to that workout that had pistols in it instead of wall balls. I think they just kind of changed it up to test some different things that we might see in this quarterfinals. Although we did do wall balls in the open, of course we're gonna see things repeat from the open to quarterfinals. I just don't know if wall balls is gonna be the squatting movement we see, which might actually be a smart reason that we're doing it this week because it might not be taxing something we do next week. We'll see. Time cap is 20 minutes. I don't know if I will. I don't think I'm gonna complete this in 30 minutes, or 30 probably would, but in 20 minutes, just because wall balls aren't a super strong movement for me. And I didn't do the quarterfinals, I didn't make it the year that this workout is inspired by. That was 2021. And I don't really know how the GHD is going to tax my rope climbs. So we're gonna head to the gym and we will see. About to get started, I put on my shin protection here so that I make sure I don't scrape up my legs on the rope climbs. I was looking at some of the scores on our leaderboard for the people that did it so far. I saw that our coach, Jackson Miller, he sort of runs the RX Plus program and came in first in the gym in the open last couple years. He finished this workout in like less than 12 minutes. But the more normal people more average people look like they're getting into the rounds of 30 GHD sit-ups. So maybe I'll get close to that. No women have done it yet, and the workout's the same for women and men, same number of rope climbs and everything. So I'm not sure if like the women are gonna get a little bit less because one, we're shorter on the rope climb, and women just tend to not excel at that movement the same way men do. But we're gonna find out. I'm about to get started, so I'll let you know. You'll see. Okay, welcome back to another voiceover. You can see the workout on the corner of your screen there if you're wondering what I'm doing here. I talked about it earlier, but wanted to put it back up there as a reminder for all of you. At some point, I'll stop doing these voiceovers and putting out these really long videos, but I feel like I can add a lot more insight when doing these voiceovers versus just speaking with you guys at the end of the workout, because now I have some time to process it and to watch it back and just to see how it went. So I am watching this back for the first time with all of you, so it's always interesting to see. So I am in that first set of 50 GHD sit-ups, which is a lot. And I've done some volume of GHD sit-ups, but not a ton in the last couple of weeks. So we'll see if I am feeling these, because I haven't done a ton during the open. So I imagine I'll feel these later. It's been a couple hours though, and I'm not really feeling it too much yet. Fingers crossed. So this is a set of 50, which is a pretty big set. I don't really take much of a rest here. I just kind of grind through these. I don't mind GHD sit-ups a whole ton, but I will say after I finished up with these and got off of this set, I felt really dizzy. And then after the workout was over, I had a bit of a headache, which is something I do seem to get from GHD sit-ups. I mentioned it to another athlete after I'd finished the workout, and he suggested tucking my chin more so my head doesn't move as much as I'm going back. I don't think it moves a whole ton watching these, but it's definitely something I'll be trying to implement next time I'm on that GHD, because I definitely get a headache. These are slowing down here, but I think I'm getting closer to the end. 50 is a big set, and as a shorter person, I have quite a bit of a reach. You know, I can't just lean back and touch the ground. Although I probably could lean back a little bit less because I'm pretty mobile and just kind of fall back really far. But just grinding through these possibly should break them up if you're somebody trying this workout and not very proficient at them. I'm walking over to get some chalk because I didn't bring any over to my rope with me. Chalking up my hands as I walk back, going to this first rope climb. And I was definitely a little bit dizzy after those GHD sit-ups. And the rope climbs were so much more difficult than they were in warm-ups. In warm-ups, I was able to tuck my legs really high and get into a ball and, you know, really limit the number of pulls I had. But after 50 GHD sit-ups, your core is not the same. And tucking your legs in is just not as easy, like pulling them into your core and close to your arms, so much harder. So I kind of had to just grind through these in a different way than I feel like I usually can do rope climbs, chalking up my hands in between, just trying to rest a second. And because my core felt so fatigued, I just sort of had to think about resting for a second when I would have usually wanted to jump up a little bit faster than I was. I've not done a ton of GHD sit-ups and rope climbs. There was a quarterfinals workout that involved both of these and a similar rep scheme, but it had pistols instead of the wall balls. That was in 2021. I didn't qualify for quarterfinals that year, so I have not really done it before. If you have, I remember there being a lot of feedback on this workout because of just how much impact those GHD sit-ups had on everybody's cores for the rest of the weekend. It was definitely an interesting workout and definitely interesting to try this out now, having never done it before. But GHD sit-ups tax a lot of things. And if you're doing something that's a core dominant movement after it, it's a challenge. But I do think to some degree GHD sit-ups are good because they really do strengthen your core. And if you look at those mayhem athletes, they do a ton of GHDs and they have a ton of success. So something to think about there. Probably got to implement some more GHDs in my training. So now finally walking over to those wall balls. And right here, I think I'm probably have some, like, this is a good time. I was happy with where I was in the workout at this time. Problem was wall balls. They're not my thing.
I just have weak squatting, and it's something I need to work on, especially under fatigue and especially at a high volume, because I want to break things up a lot. But just tried to grind through these knowing that this was just not going to be my movement. I did try to hit that slightly higher target that we used in the open this year, trying to hit the middle of the target and not the bottom of it, just to get a little bit more used to that standard. And it's always better to go to the harder standard, right? So I just tried to take quick breaks, try to do sets of 4, 5, 6, which I know is small on wall balls, but you got to do what you got to do with the movements that aren't your forte. So this was just me trying to get through it, shake out my arms, and trying to keep on it. Doing workouts by yourself is sometimes hard, and then trying to stick with a movement that just you don't excel at, difficult on your own, but just try to stay in it. And I just tried to chip away, because for me, that was the name of the game. If you're trying this workout or interested in trying a workout similar to it, or if something comes up in quarterfinals similar to this, if you're great at wall balls, that's definitely something you should maximize and take advantage of and do big sets. That's not me, so I have to approach it a little bit differently. And now I'm going back to look at my time to see how much time I've used, because my clock is over there, just trying to see how poorly it's going. But I think it says something to be able to just stay close to the ball and chip away even when you really, really, really don't want to. And wall ball is different than the pistols that were originally in this workout. You can kind of keep going with them more than pistols. Pistols, you get to lower your heart rate a little bit more. Wall balls, you can kind of just pick it up and go, and you don't have to slow your heart rate down as much. So it did change this workout a little bit, I believe, from what it was when it was originally programmed with the pistols in the quarterfinals back in 2021. If you did that workout, let me know what you remember from it and how it went, because I'm curious. I do just remember there being a lot of people struggling through that one back in 2021. Maybe it'll repeat. And if it does, I'm probably going to be a little upset. I just did this a couple days earlier. But I don't think we'll be seeing a repeat in quarterfinals, because we saw one in the open. But with this being the first year Bosman is programming, I really can't say I know anything for certain anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out next Thursday, or this coming Thursday. By the time you see this on Friday, it'll be the next Thursday that we have. But it is, I feel like there's a lot of surprises for us when we haven't had this person programming before. So I'm kind of thinking about what I might be predicting for quarterfinals. If you have any ideas of what we might see, let me know in the comments below. But still chipping away at these wall balls. They're just not my thing. Going back to the GHD now, I probably should have started with my hands on the pads. I believe that's usually the standard. I think in the moment of the workout, I just forgot that you're supposed to have your hand on the foot pad before you do your first rep. This isn't actually a qualifier workout, so it's not the end of the world, but I do think that is the standard. If you're doing this workout or doing GHDs in the future, it's probably a good thing to start practicing. So this is the set of 40s. We finished all the 50s, and now we're into the 40s on the GHD. I think I take a little bit more rest at one point in this, or maybe 2 points in this, than I did in the last set. Core is just kind of starting to feel it from the previous 50 GHDs. There's the rest. And the rope climbs, but I didn't rest very long. These aren't a horrible movement for me. I can kind of grind through them, and I have a lot of mobility in my lower back, so I don't really feel it there like some people do. So I just tried to capitalize on that, knowing that I had to do more wall balls, and that's just, it isn't it for me. So I do enjoy the GHD, although it does make me dizzy. I like the movement, and I feel like I can grind through it. So these, I was not dreading these like some people do, but they did get harder than they usually are in workouts. And I did take a bit of a rest at the top a couple times. So just continuing to move through this and get back to those rope climbs. This time we only have 4 rope climbs when I get back there after these 40 GHD sit-ups. But the core is starting to fatigue after all of this work, all of this core work, and even the wall ball, catching it and throwing it. There's some stabilization in your core there too. And this workout just kind of wrecked all of that. And a lot of hip flexors between this and the squat in the wall balls. So now chalking up my hands for the next rope climb. I believe one of my rope climbs, I think it's the second one, gets really, really tough. The core fatigue is starting to build and almost missed my foot lock on that one. Just trying to eke my way up there. It's definitely different than most rope climbs I've done because you just don't usually have your core at this level of fatigue going into this movement. But I do think it's good to try to fatigue these things and then try to utilize them in a workout like this. So took a little bit of a walk. It's really was trying to be a measured rest. Like I wanted to jump up and I was trying to be smart about it so I didn't fail any of these rope climbs, because who wants to get all the way up there and not make it to the top? So I was trying to be smart about it. I wish I could have tucked my legs up a little bit more, but I was just struggling. I feel like I was almost slipping this time. So just trying to get through it and be smart about it. Again, I came down because I was almost slipping that time. I really did try to take a second to rest. Right now you can see me bending over. I am chalking up my hands there, trying to make sure my grip is ready for the next rep. And again, trying to be smart, because sometimes you want to jump up and you want to keep going, and you just have to know that like you can't always do that when you're fatigued, especially when you have movements that are fatiguing everything that you need for the next movement. So I just was trying to be smart about it and make sure I was going to make the rep before I hopped up. So I think I have one more after this one. And again, I was looking at the clock. My clock is on the floor near my GHD, trying to give myself a couple seconds of rest before I jump back up, just to make sure that I'm getting my heart rate down a little bit and that I'm going to be successful. Because if you're not successful and you're failing, that really does get in your head in a workout. For me, 23.3, my first attempt, I failed a bunch of snatches, and I didn't get through the snatches at 95 pounds because of that. And being successful in my second attempt, I easily got through the 95-pound snatches. So you just got to make sure you're doing what you can to make yourself successful. So that's the last touch. Back over to those wall balls. Honestly, I hate watching myself do these because they're just such a bad movement. Now I'm like resting before I did them because my heart rate, I believe my heart rate, I looked at my watch right there before I started these wall balls and it was at 180. So we're in the pain cave here as we move through these wall balls. Just trying to keep going and make sure I maintain. Almost dropped the ball there, and now resting after I think it was a set of 5. So I hate watching these because this is just one of my worst movements. No one wants to watch themselves do something they're not successful at. But I do think sometimes this is personally very good for me to see myself, not necessarily be my best at things, to one, know what I need to work on, and two, it usually feels worse in the moment than it does when you actually watch it back. Because, I'm being successful with my reps, and I'm taking a little bit of rest, and this might be a long rest, but I'm not taking minutes of rest. So I think having the confidence to know, my reps look good, I am accomplishing them, helps in the next workout, even when they suck, even when I still don't like them, to know, you may not feel good, but it doesn't look as bad as it feels. So that's something, I guess. I really wished I would have went faster on this set of wall balls, and I wanted to in the moment. I was just felt wrecked from the rest of the stuff and just couldn't get through them. And 40 for me still seems like a massive number, and you really shouldn't get wrapped up in the number. I think you should pick a number that you can stick with and just think about completing X number each time versus thinking about the big number. Put my hands behind my head, try to get my heart rate down a little bit because it was still, I think it was 177 now. So wall balls are just not something that I can lower my heart rate on very well right now. Some people are better at it, and that's something I need to get better at, and it might be me panicking a little bit because I dislike them. Squatting movements are just not my forte. Using my legs is not my forte. But for a lot of people, I do know there are people out there, some of them, who like wall balls. If you're that person and you're doing this workout, like, capitalize on that. The man who programmed this at my gym, the coach, Jackson Miller, he did them all unbroken and had a great score. So if you could do that, I mean, that's going to make this workout so much faster and so much more successful for you. I think I need to work on in the off season doing, high rep wall balls. Even if it's going to jack up my heart rate and mess me up for the next thing, I think it's more important for me to get used to doing them. And I think as I do that, I will get better at doing them. So we're about 3/4 of the way through this time cap now, 15 minutes. And I am almost finished with the 40 wall balls. So what we have left is 30 GHDs, 3 rope climbs, then 30 more of these wall balls, which I am still on and should be off of by now because I've had plenty of time. It took like 3 minutes to do those. And that's not ideal, 3.5 minutes, but it is what it is, right? Can't change that now. Hopping back on this GHD, again, should have started with my hands touching the pads, but that is a lesson for the future and something I see now that I am watching it back. So grinding through these 30, getting out a bit of a set before I take a little rest on the top of the pads, which you see me doing now. Just a little bit fatigued, but just grinding through these GHDs. It's a movement that I do think, I know it gets some hate, but I also think that if you can get really good at these, that it's just going to really strengthen your core for so many things and allow you to have more core endurance. And that can really help in CrossFit and just in general. I mean, everything is core related, right? Core to extremity is really a big part of CrossFit and what they teach, but they teach at level 1. So you got to get that core right and set, and being good at these will get your core pretty strong. So resting again, trying to get through these. Here we go, chipping away. 50, 40, 30 GHDs, 120 GHDs in a workout. That's a lot of volume. If you haven't done GHDs and you're thinking about trying this workout, I wouldn't suggest starting with that number of GHDs. You could reduce the number, maybe cut it in half, or you could do sit-ups, or you could cut it in half and then do the other half in sit-ups. If you're looking to try this workout, that's a good scale. GHDs are likely going to appear in the quarterfinals. They are on the equipment list, so I would be aware of that. But if you're trying this now, you don't want to get too taxed pre-quarterfinals, so I wouldn't suggest, if you haven't done a ton of them, doing this volume of them several days before quarterfinals. Chalking up my hands again. I was going to the same rope I've usually used, but there was a woman using a GHD right there, and I didn't want to make her uncomfortable. I probably could have safely done it. I just didn't want to, be too close. So this rope is very frayed. I don't know if you can see that at the bottom. It was freaking me out a little bit because it felt like it was falling apart, and it felt very thin on the bottom. She just got off the GHD, so I ended up moving back for my other 2 reps to the rope that's a little bit newer that I was using previously. Just trying to catch my breath and looking at the time, knowing that I have just over 2 minutes. Became pretty clear that I wasn't going to finish all of those wall balls because I just can't do them that fast. And I still had 2 reps on this. And let me tell you, look how little I'm pulling up my legs. My core was just about done here, but survived it. And I think that's the important part. Just jumped down there, almost fell. But just trying to grind through this, because that's also a skill to get through some of these quarterfinal workouts, because some of them are going to be hard, some of them are going to be long, and you just got to keep moving even when you don't want to. So I was resting for a second because I just didn't want to jump up too soon, but I wanted to start probably around the 19-minute mark, so I'd have time to complete the rep and have time to get some wall balls. So giving myself a little bit more time than I probably should have, but jumping up now. And just trying to get my legs up as far as I can at this point, with my core being as taxed as it is. And I know this last rep was pretty hard. Hit the target, and now coming back down. So I have a little over 30 seconds. I'm gonna grab my phone because that's where my timer is, coming over to the wall. And I decided I was gonna do 5 and 5 and just get as many reps as I could. But I knew that I couldn't go for 30 seconds doing these wall balls. At least I didn't think I could. Maybe I should have tried it. But I did 5 and then a quick another set of 5. So I didn't let the ball go too far away. I didn't take as much rest as I've taken on previous attempts and just kind of went back to it and continued to just do what I could to get as many reps as I could under the time cap. And that's that time cap. And now I am on the floor because this was a doozy, but definitely finishable if you're looking to try it. Easily finishable if you're just decently proficient at wall balls, which I am not. And I was just laying here, curled up in a ball. There's a woman about to walk by and she asks me if I am crying or just resting. I was definitely just resting, but maybe I should have been crying after all of those wall balls, just trying to collect myself. It definitely was a good workout and my legs are a little bit fatigued already and I didn't even finish all the wall balls. I actually feel my legs a little bit more right now than my core. I imagine that will switch, but I think that also is just something to do with the fact that my squat endurance is not as great as most CrossFitters are. So if you're a pretty good squatter, you might feel your core more than your legs. And I also do imagine I will feel my core more than my legs tomorrow morning, but we'll see. I'll be vlogging tomorrow's quarterfinal workouts as well. Also, I think here we just laid down. I realized my head was killing me from all that swinging on the GHD. And I just needed a second to, try and get my brain unscrambled. That was so hard. I'm so bad at wall balls. That workout for me all came down to the wall balls and not wanting to do any of them. That's one of the things really to work on. I mean, I'm always working on squats because I've got no leg power, but in the off season, I really need to get on a squat cycle and also probably just trying to do more high rep squatting in workouts. Like the win for me not being necessarily the best time on the workout, but on trying to string together bigger sets of squatting movements, like bigger sets of wall balls, bigger sets of thrusters, because there are things like I'll break up fast and try to get back on them fast and try to, optimize my time on the rest of the workout because I know I'm gonna lose time there. But for the sake of like getting better overall, I think I need to maybe sometimes take the L on the rest of the workout just to learn how to sell myself a little bit more on the squats. But I'm sure I'm gonna feel those GHDs tomorrow too. But for me, they're not like the crux of the workout. That is the squats. So for this quarterfinal cycle that I'm doing right now, or quarterfinals simulation weekend, I'm gonna do quarterfinals workouts Thursday, today, that was this one, 2 workouts Friday and 2 workouts Saturday. I will share those all with you, at least that's the plan. As long as, that's the plan. There's no reason that wouldn't happen. So I plan to share all those with you, all of you. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see that. Like this video if you enjoyed it. I'll be putting them out not every day, I'll probably do them every other day so that you guys have time to actually watch them before the next workout comes out. So yeah, like, subscribe, come back for quarterfinals content. Try this workout if you want to do something that's sort of quarterfinals-esque to simulate the struggle of quarterfinals. And if you do it, let me know in the comments. I appreciate you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.